Jake here from Team Ultra Instinct, bringing you a ban list slash errata list talk, and we're also going to be talking about the champ cards that are coming out. We're going to dive right into the beginning of the list, actually, and so we'll be giving our thoughts in each ban.
This gonna be interesting.
Yeah, so first one is the Beerus Godly Majesty ban. I know a lot of people were surprised by this one. I
Yeah, this one I wasn't even expecting.
Yeah,
To be honest.
honestly, no one had that on the radar when that first started. And honestly, their reasoning is pretty fair. From what they're doing, they're trying to make the game a little more interactive, and you have to pay for stuff. And so, with how generic this card is, I think it was a fair ban. I mean, maybe they could have limited it, but honestly, I think just going forward, free is probably just going to be too
Free
good for
plays
the
are
game.
kind of free plays are kind of overpowered now. I
Yeah.
think.
Like I've always said from the beginning of this game, oop, I went back on accident. Beginning of the game, uh, free is dumb, basically.
I think
We don't,
so.
yeah,
With an energy-based game, free plays kind of. I mean, a small amount of free plays, fine. I get it. Like for evolve targets and such, but for instance, the free counterplay cards, those I was expecting those to be on this list.
yeah, right. So honestly, Beerus being banned just to make the game a little more less free. Uh, it's it's completely fair in my eyes. I know some people are probably like, but why though? But next one is Pan, and honestly, I didn't even think about how dumb this was with
Oh,
the aggro sin because I've never had that chance to actually face the deck.
only played it once and it was brutal. I did not like it.
Yeah, so this at first it confused me. I was like, why do they even ban this card? Like, what deck is it even popping off with? And once I read the reasoning, I was like, oh, yeah, that's fair. What am I doing? um, but Pan, being able to restand a triple striker is absolutely insane. Um, and so with them making their reasoning to basically ban it strictly so you don't have interactions where you can attack, 2 times with a free triple striker or one energy triple striker, whatever he is. I mean, even with Cells, you could technically
Oh
do
yeah,
that, right?
because they'll play Celzino and give Celzino dual attack basically. So they'll play it before turn 5.
Yeah, so this, in my eyes, is fair, especially since, it's another free card that you can play if you're at 2 or less life, and, you
Makes sense.
just do that and restand your guys. Like, nah. It's also a blocker, too, so I,
Yeah,
I
I
I think it was a fair ban, especially with the new cards going forward.
think so too.
It's just it limits card design. Um, but yeah. So after that we have Gohan,
I'm
and
hoping for this one.
honestly, with all the hate uh, that you could side for it, it surprised me at first, but on it like the more I thought about it, being able to win turn 2 and do shenanigans like that, and then you have to sideboard certain cards to answer this leader. Like, yeah, if you have negates, like regular negates, you'll be fine. Honestly, I think Blue Baby really kept this deck in check. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
it's
I'm
fair.
glad he's gone. I never liked him, but
Yeah,
I'm glad
only
he's
a
gone.
couple decks had a good matchup, so it's fair. Finally getting rid of him. I mean, it was a mistake to make him as good as he was. I loved the leader when he first came out, and people started doing shenanigans that I didn't like with it, so I stopped playing it. But I still love the art and all that, so at least I'll get to have it for the art.
No, it's pretty.
Yeah, this is a pretty straightforward ban here. I we saw it coming, honestly. People didn't like the
Yeah,
deck.
I was hoping for something.
And then after that, we have the U9 Assemble ban. I know a lot of people didn't like
No,
this. I
no,
think it's fair because of what was being taken advantage of. However, the idea of it being errata to be only for a U9 leader.
maybe U9 only, then it would have been perfect. It would have been fine. But the fact that they outright banned this, not I get it. They're worried about Mecha. They're like, okay, Mecha's really powerful. We don't need this card. But now you just ruined any future U9 cards and the new rebooted Bergamo card. You kind of just hit it.
Yeah, it was
So
indirect hit, unfortunately. But, the deck didn't revolve around that card, luckily. I mean, the downside of this card in that deck was strictly because it was 2 yellow. And typically you wouldn't get it off until like minimally turn 3. Sometimes you would get the turn 2, but generally you're charging a blue energy as well.
but
Um,
still, I think this could have been an errata to U9 leaders only.
skip the
totally helped out.
yeah,
Uh, it's just not fair. I don't think.
yeah, straightforward. But could have fixed it, whatever. But on to the limited cards. They limited Heartfelt Plea to 1. And I don't know if this does a whole lot. Because honestly, a lot of Dark Broly decks ran this at like a 2 of at most.
Yeah, I mean, all it does is freezes space for the Dark Broly deck, but Dark Broly
Right.
got hit even more than just this.
Right. It was nice that they hit the deck so this couldn't really be run as efficiently in there, but it sucks for other decks that wanted to run this. However, once again, it is a free card to play if you can satisfy his conditions, and they're trying to make the game a little bit less free. And so I think this was a fair limit. Because, like, yeah, it's a one of in the deck. If you see it, cool. It's kind of like a secret rare for you. But
Yeah.
yeah, in conjunction with the Dark Broly from the Ultimate deck, this card was just insanely good because it was a 2 energy Dark Broly.
Considered red and
Yeah,
black.
it was red and black. It was literally the easiest target for this card to possibly hit because it's just set up for it instantly.
Yeah.
Turn 2. I mean, the aggression that Dark Broly could do strictly because of this. I mean, you play it, they could either crit a life or draw 2. And,
Oh yeah.
you know, even then, it's like you could potentially do 4 damage in that one turn if the offering goes off. So, fair limit in my opinion. Card was a little oppressive within certain decks. I mean, it used to be absolutely insane with the Surge Goku leader when that was running rampant. And so this card definitely sees a resurgence often, very often. Whenever anything red comes out that's good, this makes an appearance.
Yeah.
So then after that, we have Barddock the Resolute being limited. Um,
Well, I understand.
yeah, I get it. And so, honestly, being able to switch it back to active mode when someone activates a counter, that's huge in its own.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, a free double striker, 15k. Yeah, it has unique. That kind of restricts it a little bit. It has no combo power. However, if you're playing like a really fast deck that does run what they say here, the Piccolo Junior Eradicator of Peace, that card is stupid because it's 2 energy and you can start burning people, double strike, draw 2 cards. And so if you pair it with this as well, you're potentially going to do 5 damage in one turn. And this is another case of this card is free. It is free aggression. They're trying to get rid of the freeness a little more and make you have to pay for it. You kind of have to work for it a little more. Um, but yeah, Barddock limited to 1. I think it was fair. And onto Bergamo, Voracious Roar. Kind of sucks because this was another indirect hit to U9.
Yeah. Another one.
But
That
unfortunately, if you put this in conjunction with the power of a Super Saiyan card, it
oh,
really made the
well,
game a little unfair.
oh, I understand it, but again, you're hitting one deck. Your goal is to hit one deck, but in reality, you're hitting many decks because we have the Bergamo, and if they do make any future U9 decks, it limits this.
I love their reasoning though, because they're like, it's intended for board control and yellow decks. Like, dude, they weren't using it for board control; they were using it for energy control.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
this card has been rough because like while it's a good card, it also was shutting down a lot of decks because like it turned off the energy factor being important. Like it basically told you you have to play without your energy. And yeah,
It's,
you could counterplay it, but like
you're
some of the times
still
certain decks can't prevent the play.
no like the Green Frieza. Okay, still gonna get his auto, but at least you pop the a guy on board. But still, you just locked out two energy.
Yeah, so this card was a little too generically good, and that's how draft box cards always tend to be.
Yeah.
And even like
Glad they
if you
left
pair
that
this with the Mecha Freeze Negate too, there's just so many good pairings with this card that it just made it dumb.
They just had to.
Yeah. So while they could have errated it at the same time, honestly, if you made it a U9 leader too, it might have
Would have been
still been
fine,
super
but I
dumb.
still think it's been a little bit too powerful.
Yeah, it's just a very strong card. But after that is the drum limit, and I
Weird.
I don't know how King Piccolo players feel about this because this card was absolutely stupid in King Piccolo.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
I
I've faced one King Piccolo player, and he's used it pretty well. This card,
right, it's free
but
blockers though, and that's the thing. It's a barrier blocker too. So it's not just a blocker, it's a barrier blocker. And it going to a limit of 1, I mean, you're typically not swinging with this card unless you're trying to go for game. But it sets up the King Piccolo player to play defensive and offensive at the exact same time because it's just a target to combo with and play too. And honestly, the limit to 1 was probably fair. They they could have banned it, but I think the limit to 1 was more fair, honestly.
I think winning it was fine.
Yeah. It also does a minus 10k power on play. And so that's pretty significant if you're playing potentially, 2 to 3 in a turn somehow.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little too much. I get it.
So,
I get it.
yeah, I get the limit to 1. Could they have banned it? They could have. Could they have errata it too? They might have been able to. But yeah.
I just give it unique, and it'd been fine.
Yeah, unique could have worked too. There's a lot of tricky things with that card,
This one
but
did
it
work.
was a really big part of the deck. It's what helped them run.
This one
But
hurts my.
yeah, the
This one hurts.
catastrophic blow limit was pretty brutal. I
Oh,
know some people definitely really felt poorly about this, but what it does is it's basically limiting it to once per turn. And so I think this was a fair decision on their part because they're trying to make the game once again more interactive. And we currently cannot interact with the extra cards being played. Yeah, you could say you could kill the 3-drop Goku that comes to bring out the 6-drop, or you can kill the 6-drop Goku. There's answers out there, but the problem is Invoker has ways to easily deal with a lot of those answers, except for like an extra card. Once again, you can't
yeah.
interact with
Like
that,
you gotta
but
think, Invoker's win con is either Apex or OG Victory Strike. And Apex, still negated and such.
right. So
But
cat
this was like
blow limit once per
really,
turn.
this was like a win con that guaranteed the win from us.
Yeah, this was a little bit free if you got to turn 5 and they couldn't interact with you. Because once again, Invoker has the way to look at your opponent's hand, strip certain cards from it. So if they
Oh,
take your
yeah.
answers out of your hand, how are you gonna deal with any of the cards coming into play?
I get that. I get that. I don't know. This one's just I'm a little salty about.
Yeah, I get it, and I understand that Invoker hasn't been performing insanely well in tops. It's still a deck out there that's very good as a rogue deck, though. And these don't hit until I believe August 6th is the official date for these to be
Yep,
implemented.
August 6th.
But it
But
sucks for people, but I get Bandai's reasoning is they're trying to make the game more interactive because it's repeated gameplay, it's uninteractive. It's
yeah,
basically a one-shot win con every time.
yeah.
But
This one, my heart when I saw him from the letter list before reading what happened. I'm like, no, my boy.
my boy, how dare they?
But
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 they
I think
needed
it's
to.
I think it's fine.
I mean, you played it for at 5 energy somewhat
I
often, not all the time, but somewhat often.
I play
And
at 6 energy sometimes, and
yeah,
it's just
right. I mean, sometimes you have to play it in
I
the late
understand
game.
why people. Yeah, I understand why people are complaining. Oh no, he got rid of the quad strike, but his full potential is at 5 energy. So I understand those aggro players, like the aggro Sin Shenron, they'd play it turn 4 just to get that, and then use Pan as the dual attacker. But it's like, okay, but I really love the discard. I'm like, that is powerful. So I usually wait till turn 5, drop this thing. He's got quad, dual attack, and you just lost 3 cards.
The main problem with it though was the fact that it was
Uh,
free and you could
Yeah.
drop it turn 2
Yep.
and
I mean,
40k
I'm
quad
happy.
strike.
I'm
Yeah,
happy they didn't downgrade the quad to like triple strike or anything, and I'm glad that they still kept it at 5 or more energy because that doesn't affect me.
right. It's still free too. That is very significant. It's
Yeah,
still free.
free.
So you could use it as a game ender if you somehow get them down to 1 life, or you have a Champa in hand, so you can have a 50k, double strike swing, or
Yeah,
you play it for 5 energy, get the full potential, cool, but like it's still free to do at 5 energy. It's not like they're making you pay energy. They just want you to
oh,
wait for a
they
proper
made me pay
timing.
energy. I'd be flipping a table.
Yeah, they made the card a secret rare that's more fair now compared to what it was before,
Yep.
and I think that was a good choice by them because honestly, this
Because
card was pretty damn oppressive.
It was amazing. I love it. Still do.
So next one we have here was the Errata to Vegex, and I don't know how much work this actually is gonna do for it, because this just means the Overrealm variant is gonna be a little bit more relevant, because you're not milling yourself out as fast.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it just slows it down a bit, but not entirely. I don't know. 3 cards is fine.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it a little bit less consistent on the mills in terms of hitting like your starter deck cards
Big
that are
plays
supposed to
and
be paired
such.
with this.
Yeah, yeah. So that one I'm okay with.
I'm fine with this. I mean, I think it was probably the better choice. They honestly probably should have just straight up banned this leader because this leader, since he has came out, has caused nonstop problems.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
you know, him being paired with the universe, what, 3 or whatever cards, that was absolutely insane. And then he started getting paired with Overrealm because he was able to mill so much. And now that he's burst 3, it just makes Overrealm a little more prevalent in the deck.
Yep. Yep.
This is a tricky one. We'll see how this plays out in the future. I
Yeah, I'm
don't think
curious.
this was a hard hit. I think it was a minor hit though, and that's good. But I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
think this
very
is as
curious.
bad as people think. Especially when you can know you can pay 1 energy for like Majin Buu's extinction attack to make up for that. Tricky,
Yeah,
tricky spot. Next one is Majin Quickening being errated, and
I'm happy about this one.
I'm very happy about this one because in my
So,
opinion, I thought Majin Vegeta was much more oppressive than Gohan, and
yeah,
that's
this
because I thought the deck was more consistent.
it was. It was.
Yeah, Gohan could technically awaken faster and get you the triple strikes, but here's the thing with Gohan. You negate like 1 or 2 attacks, you have stopped them for a turn. The leader there was their win con. And
Yeah, but you
here,
stop him once, but he's gonna still going.
yeah, you stop Majin Vegeta once, twice, you may have bought yourself a turn. May have. And that's the problem there. That's not even guaranteed. This being at 3 energy has now allowed you to live an additional turn. I have died on turn 2 many times from Majin Vegeta because they
Yep.
can just pop
Keep
off.
attacking. Keep attacking.
And so with the Majin Vegeta deck, you also have, you know, Servant and Overlord. So that's just additional draws with the 1-drop TP stuff. You know, it's 15k double strike turn 1. You have another 15k double strike from their leader. They've already taken 2 of their own life. They're at 6 life. And if you have this card out, you know, turn 1, you decided to do this. Turn 2, you start just doing all your awakening shenanigans. The leader's an untap 2. And we know untap 2 in the past has been insane. Like, for example, Rudigar and Storm. It was an untapped 2 leader. What did it do? It caused turn extensions. So, this being a turn 3 card now has allowed you to save an extra turn from the ultimate deck, Majin Buu. So, I think this is valid.
Yeah, I'm happy with that one.
Yeah, Dark Broly. So, this one's interesting. They didn't slow down the plays in the deck. However, they turned off the ability to basically combo a lot.
Yeah, I'm
And
okay with that.
I'm okay with this. I want to see how it plays out to see if that really did hurt the deck or not, because it still does all of its plays perfectly fine. It did not slow down the plays. However, it made them think now you have to play a little bit more defensive because if you're holding all these 0 combo cost 30k cards in your
You don't have
hand,
any defense.
right, you have no defense. However, there are a lot of cards out there that still have combo power, so the deck isn't, you know, out of
No,
luck
you just
completely.
gotta change it up a bit.
Right. And this also is significant because you can't remove your guys as easily from the board
Nope.
because that would allow you to, you know, play your Dark Brolies a bunch because they have unique.
Yeah.
And so this one's interesting because you can use it both offensive and defensively. And I don't know how it's going to play out. However, I think it's good that they at least acknowledge the fact that this deck is offhand and that once per turn might just make it a little bit worse. I mean, it makes it worse for sure. It does.
Yeah. No, it
But
does.
how much worse is the question? And it's
Right.
still a very strong deck, so don't count it out. It's just this
Curious. I'm
needed to
curious
happen,
to see.
right? Black Smoke. So this one I think was fair, and it's because we have a Hatch player in our group, Lee Shihan, who plays Hachiak all the
Yeah.
time whenever he can. He has acknowledged the fact that you could have played this card in there for the draw 1. and Hachiyak making you attack only once per turn with your battle cards essentially, unless you're somehow playing super high-end battle cards. Like Sin Shenron probably would have been fine with that. Um, but I think this is probably fair.
I think it's fine. Let's not make Hatch broken, as he
Right.
already
Hatch
is.
doesn't need to be over the top. Hatch can be good, it just can't be broken. Because unfortunately, that's a leader they have to work around now because that leader really does slow down the game. Because he's like a pseudo Nimbus without any energy. And so targeting anything that really powers up the deck is smart. The only thing I want them to do, and I know it's probably not going to happen at this point, is I wanted them to make the Oceanus Shenron from next set, the SR negate blocker, makes you mill 4 every time you attempt to attack. They should have restricted that to a black Shadow Dragon leader or
Yeah,
Shadow Dragon leader.
that one's gonna. Oh my gosh, that card's gonna be sideboarded everywhere, or even main boarded in best
Well,
of one.
in Hatchiyak, it's like a
And
4 of.
oh my
It
god.
gets you to the turn you need to be. And so with that, uh, I'm not excited for
Yeah,
that
we'll
card.
see. I have a feeling that card's gonna get hit for future.
It might be an emergency ban. If
Yeah,
Hachiyak really does pop off, it might be
I
an
have a feeling
emergency
it
ban
will.
because
It
we don't need to
will.
see, top 31 was or top 32 was 31 Hachiaks in this one deck that just managed to work around freaking
Yeah,
Oceanus
I'm not
Negate.
easy for that.
Now, one deck that actually could technically handle Oceanus Shenron is funny enough Broly BR from set 6 because you can't counter with energy cost 2 or more on his attacks.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's relevant enough to really work around that. Even though
No,
they
I
did
don't
kind of give
think
the deck a little support with that new 3-drop Broly.
which is
But
cool.
um, yeah. But those were the Errata's bans limits that came out. I think those were pretty fair overall. The only thing I asked more for the cards was if they did some of the free counterplays. I wanted those to get hit because it's
I think
too
limit
good right
those
now.
to a deck would be fine.
Yeah, limiting them probably would have felt good because it's like, yeah, it's only two of them in your deck, but I don't know. Maybe they're trying to stay away from limiting two per and stuff like that, and they're only trying to do, limit
More.
one erratas and bans, which I
Yeah.
guess is fair. But those
If
cards
you
right
limit
now,
it, yeah, if you limit those cards, then people are like, well, now we barely have interaction in the game.
yeah, unfortunately though, the problem is they're free, and like Trunks, for example, shuts down any card that does not have deflect,
Yep.
or Frieza hits anything 7 or less on board and just kills it.
Well, the thing
Uh,
with freezes is the autos are still going through, so it's just like it's
right.
just body at that point.
Frieza's like kind of fair, but the problem is if it's not non-play auto card,
I
it
mean,
really
the only
feels
big
bad.
ones is Frieza and Trunks. Those are the big ones.
Those are
The
the
other
big two.
little ones,
Yamcha's pretty bad as well.
Yamcha is the worst one out of those.
But yeah, but in terms of playability though, right now, honestly, because he's also a 15k body on board that can
Yeah,
attack. He hits two cards for minus 15k power, and
yeah.
yeah, he can't hit in counter window one for some of the cards being played. But the fact that he can hit two things for the minus 15k, I think, is really dumb. Uh, Vegeta, honestly, I think is the most fair one out of the bunch,
Yeah, I
and
think so.
but I do think once again goes back to my statement: free is dumb. Free is dumb,
I agree.
and I wish they got hit, but it's fine. We'll see how it plays out from here. So next we actually have the new champ cards they revealed. I think some of them are interesting. Some of them have horrible arts. um,
God, I hate that art. I hate it so much.
I I like the King Vegeta card.
I like King Vegeta, but
Um,
Python, oh my god. I hate it. The card, I don't care about the card. It's the artwork. I hate the artwork.
yeah, that artwork is absolutely disgusting. I do like the card, but the artwork is horrible.
Oh, the card helps the deck, but
Right.
oh my
So
god.
let's look at King Vegeta here. So basically,
I
he's a
just
blocker 5k, 2 energy. If your leader card has Vegeta in its character name at the end of the battle in which you use it in a combo from your hand, you play it from the drop area.
and he's a blocker.
He's a blocker.
I like
So
him.
1 energy, 10k combo. I think he's pretty good. I don't know how much justice he does for the starter deck King Vegeta.
That's what I was about to say. I'm like, he would be fun in the starter deck Vegeta, maybe,
Yeah,
as
my
like blocker support.
my problem with that is I want to pair this with the Frieza Army Healing Pod card. I want to, but for example, if you're running the starter deck King Vegeta, you're not gonna be running that.
No,
You're
like
just not, because you're gonna have the
Hakan's
other field card.
cool. He's cool. I'm glad there's some support with the deck into free play. Or not free play, but 3 energy. If you have 5 or more mono blue energy, put this card at the bottom of your deck. And at the start of your main phase, you get to play a Gogeta, which is
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
basically that super rare from that set. Or the Pecan Piken, whatever. I don't know how to
Pikuon,
say
yeah.
it. You play that the secret rare version of him and you play it.
Right. That does make me wonder if they're gonna make another 8-drop Pycon in the future.
I think so. There's possibilities.
Right. But Gogeta, I think that was really cool that they did this for the deck. Yeah, it's limited at 5 or more mono blue energy. However, what if we started to mix this with like Super Saiyan 3 Goku? And I can't say that's an original idea right there. Um,
I could see it.
uh, but Lee brought this up in our group chat, and being able to do this, in Super Saiyan 3, you could get there realistically on turn 3. You could do this. And so, or maybe turn 3, turn 4. Basically a turn earlier, because you have to pay the 3 for it. No, you could do it turn 3. You just need like a sensu bean or something. And
Pretty much.
yeah, that would be pretty nutty. I'm not gonna lie.
I
Uh,
like it.
I like the card. It's pretty strong effect. Makes Gogeta relevant, because unfortunately that Gogeta just wasn't good
It
enough.
wasn't good.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good enough because there was no easy way to get it out. And second of all, our 5-drop Gogeta targets are pretty lackluster right now. Like, I
Yeah,
love the starter deck one. The TP one's not bad, and the set one is restricted to being played in PyCon.
pretty much.
But this made the chain a little more generic, so I like it. Nice negate too.
Yep.
These cards are interesting. The Tien does the Tien deck a lot of
I like the
justice.
Tien. Android 17 is for the Android 7, the new yellow deck.
Right.
Uh, I think
But
it's okay.
Tien, I like. It's a negate, and you play him in rest mode. But it's 1 energy. It's a Tien target for the Tien deck. And then when you use in a combo from your battle area, you play a multiform token in rest mode. That's fine. However, it's still doing a 1-for-1. So you're comboing him. He's a negate. You'll combo with him, and then you'll get another body on board that's a little bit stronger than him.
Pretty
So,
much.
in my
I like
opinion, pretty decent card for Tien. It's not an overpowered card. However, pretty solid card. It's also a world tournament card, so that's pretty significant. You could
Yeah.
run it in announcer if you really wanted to.
Yeah, pretty much.
But so Android 17 Hell's Guidance. This
Yeah.
card is interesting to say the least. Um so if your leader card is yellow and you switch one of your yellow android cards in your battle area to rest mode, play this card from your hand. He's a 4K blocker, so it's a free play if you switch an android to rest mode. If you pair this with Android 16 from set 13, right?
Yeah.
You'll get that pairing there to restand that Android 16, free play him. It's limit 1, so they're trying to make it not stupid to where you can, plop out a crap ton of guys in the one turn and then somehow sell Xeno because, this is a yellow card. It's relevant. Sure, sell Xeno makes it at 5 energy now, but I'm glad they're at least being aware of that fact. His second activate main, limit 1, choose 1 Super 17 card in your battle area, place this card under the chosen card from your drop area. So it's from your drop area, which is interesting. So that means you could use them from your drop area to go under the Android 17 and do some shenanigans there. I think it's going to be pretty decent with the new stuff for Android 17. I don't know how good because obviously I'm not play testing yet, but I think it's going to be pretty solid. Free blocker is always good too. Um, we'll see how these cards perform there. But my favorite one out of the bunch is actually the next card here, which is Cooler Suffocating Tyranny. They spelled tyranny wrong. That's fine. um,
I like this card.
I really like this card.
I like it a lot. I
E-
really do.
Energy Exhaust, Triple Strike, Energy Exhaust because it's
And
always going to be for a multicolor card.
blue and random energy for arrival, which is fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
I mean, 3 energy arrival for what this card does, totally fair because it is a triple striker too. We have to keep that in mind. It is a triple striker.
So cooler
um,
get returned to your hand.
so when this card is played or attacks, your opponent places the top card of their deck in their drop area, then choose up to one. They don't choose. You choose one of their battle cards. It gets minus 25k power for the turn.
So
So
you're looking at minus 50k if he doesn't get whacked.
right. So
You
if you do this in the same turn, you're looking at a potential minus 50k, like you said. That's
And
crazy.
at the end of the turn, you may return this card to its owner's hand, and if you do, switch up to one of your red or blue energy to active mode.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think that's crazy because that means you could just keep cycling the same exact one.
Or you
Uh,
just flip it out. You untap a multicolor energy, send this guy back to your hand, and then on your combo, and then you play the super rare cooler. Or does that require two energy?
no, that costs one.
So then you tap one energy and you play that new cooler, make the mill one, and then you minus something.
I absolutely
Ridiculous.
love
I
this
love
card.
this card.
There's so much more I can say about it, so I guess let's continue the conversation. Um, this card could also go an Invoker to make up for some of that pressure that it lost. Because it is just a red-blue arrival, has no leader restrictions whatsoever, and it just gives you another option for a game ender, a board controller. Literally, it's insane. It costs 3 energy, and at the end of your turn, bring it back to your hand. You get no punishment aside from the fact that he's not on board, because you're restanding one of your blue or red energy.
Pretty much. Pretty
It's
much.
This is probably going to be one of the most sought after ones from this champ pack.
Yeah, I agree. It will.
It's very generic, which is nice. Red blue gets a huge boost from this card. Being a triple striker for 3 energy at 25k power is strong in its own. I'm looking forward to this card. I know cooler
Oh,
players
this
are
one
looking forward to it.
out of all the cards, this one is my sought after card that I want.
So the plus side with this card as well is this does pair with the cooler leader, like perfectly. I mean, you'd expect that, right? But it's a battle card that's doing the negging as well, and so I think this card's crazy,
I
honestly.
like it. I'm happy with that card. This is probably my favorite card that they've shown.
They seem to be doing this though, where in every champ pack they'll
There's
have
one
one
amazing card.
chase. Yeah, they'll have one chase card every time.
Yep.
So in the first series of this year, it was Mecha Frieza, and it's still
Yep.
a fantastic card. The second one, it was Zamasu. Now that one's a little bit trickier because it's blue and yellow, and so, sure you could say the same thing for this cooler. It's blue and red, but Zamasu's insane because it can stop unison cards. This
Yep.
card is just insane pressure and board control.
Yep.
But you have to play red blue, which is the only downside to it. And
Unfortunately.
decks that are red blue, they love this card because it's insane.
But it's
Invoker,
my
like
favorite
I
color.
said, Invoker could run this card. Um, yeah, great reveals. I love the new cards they showed. I'm fine with their ban errata list, ban errata limit.
Yeah. I'm 50-50 on the Bannerata list. Again, cat hurts. But that's probably like the only downside I have with the list. And
My
well, and
downside,
U9 and Bergamo, the U9 stuff kind of hurts. It's just like you're really hurting that deck. I mean, I know that deck didn't play, but for casual players, their Bergamo deck just got hit.
yeah. The only downside to it for me was it wasn't big enough because they said it was going to be a little more widespread, so I expected a little bit more, but good
I
enough.
expected a lot of things.
Right.
Get
And
hit. I expected the whole meta to be shifted.
I know the community felt a little indifferent, which it's fine. Not everyone's going to agree with everything.
No,
Unfortunately, it's not going to satisfy everyone. We got to understand
no,
that not everything is going to satisfy everyone. But
no.
yeah, new champ cards here. Love them. And hope you guys did enjoy the video.
Yeah.
Nice little podcast series we're going to start doing from here on out. Uh, Soon to be some reveal videos too. So
Yes.
take care,
Stay
guys.
tuned. Stay tuned.
Have a
Bye.
wonderful day. Bye bye.